Some of my favorite athletes that I looked up to as a kid, I think of baseball players and football players and basketball players that I wanted to be just like. I thought they were so cool. One of the things that stands out now as I look back on their careers is that they weren't just successful for a season or for a couple of seasons, but they were successful for a really long time. They had really long, successful careers. And I think that's part of what made them so fun to watch, and obviously it's part of what made so many of them Hall of Fame athletes. Well, this week at FCC, we're talking about what it looks like to have success over a long period of time, because if we're gonna live lives that are legendary and if we're gonna leave a legacy behind, well, that takes sustained success. It takes excellence over the period of a lifetime. Paul said in 1 Corinthians chapter 9 that all athletes train. Everybody runs, right? That's part of being in the game. But he says the difference is, for those of us who follow Jesus, it's more than just sports. He says we're running not for a prize that fades away, but for an eternal prize. And then he gives us the key to his success, and he says it's that he runs with purpose in every step. Man, I just love that thought, just running with purpose in every step. And I think about so many of the athletes that I looked up to, and I have to think that had to be part of their way of thinking. And I think there's such an important principle in there for you and me, that we think of every step that we take in our lives as having incredibly important purpose, knowing what our goal is and knowing the prize that we're running for. And so what I want to challenge you to do is you start to maybe ask how you can be somebody who runs with purpose in every step, is to consider this principle. We said this at church this weekend, that successful people do consistently what other people do occasionally. Successful people do consistently, on a regular basis, rhythmic and recurring. They do those things consistently, what other people do occasionally. And so what that means is habits are an important part of our success. They determine the outcome and the legacy of our lives. And so with that in mind, I want to challenge you to consider this. Often when we have a goal in mind or when we know what we want to accomplish, we think about what we want to do. But the problem is too many of us set do goals, and what we should be setting is more who goals. And what I mean is this, okay? I want you to think about, who do you want to be? And who do you want to be remembered for being? Not what do you want to be remembered for having accomplished, because that stuff's important, but if we're talking legacy, it's more about who you are. So maybe you would say, I want to be somebody who invests in other people, or I want to be somebody who is a faithful father, a faithful husband, a faithful wife. Maybe you'd be somebody who says, I want to be someone who is loved and respected by people, or I want to be somebody who gives generously. I don't know what it is for you. But I want to challenge you to consider not what do you want to do, but who do you want to be? I used to think backwards about identity. I used to think that the things that I did would shape how people thought of me or how they viewed me. And I've learned in my life that it's actually the opposite of that. It's my identity that shapes what I do. And we've taught this principle at FCC this way, that who you are shapes what you do. And so with that in mind, here's what I want to challenge you to do. As you consider who you want to be and who you want to be remembered for being long after you're gone, I want you to create what we'll just call an I am statement. And what that means is you take that thing, if you say, I want to be a person who, and then you fill in the blank with something, you just create a statement that says, I am, and then you fill in the blank with that same thing. And every single day you speak that statement, you pray through that statement, you ask God to make that something that really takes root in your heart and in your soul. And then what will happen is you'll find that you'll live every day and every week and every month with a little more intentionality. I heard somebody say this a long time ago, that it's the small things that no one sees that lead to the big results that everyone wants. And what that means is that the habits that you form in your life, even things that might seem insignificant to you, have huge influence over the course of your life and the quality and direction of your life. And so we want you to form habits and to integrate intentionality into every action and every step that you take in your life, so that you can do exactly what Paul said in 1 Corinthians chapter 9, and that is to take every step to run with purpose, to live every day with that kind of intentionality. Now, if you'll do that, and if you'll remember that principle that successful people do consistently what others do occasionally, then I think what you'll find is your life's going to have more influence now, and you're going to leave a bigger legacy later. That's what we want for you. That's what God wants for you. And so guys, let me challenge you one more time. Consider, who do I want to be? And who do I want to be remembered for being? And create that I am statement. Take that step today to make sure that you are running with purpose in every single step. We're praying for you. We love you guys, and we're praying that God blesses your effort to do this so that you can start building a life that's legendary.